Welcome along, strange historians. This is the Strange History Podcast. I am, hopefully, your favorite strange historian. So sit back and pour yourself a cup of coffee, or a tankard of tea, or a mug of mead, or a chalice of cider, or a flagon filled with any beverage of your choice, and join your fellow strange historians around the campfire. The following is the text from an autobiographical pamphlet that was distributed by Joseph Merrick when he was being promoted as the elephantman. I first saw the light on the 5th of August, 1860. I was born in Lee Street, Wharf Street, Leicester. The deformity which I am now exhibiting was caused by my mother being frightened by an elephant. My mother was going along the street when a procession of animals were passing by. There was a terrible crush of people to see them, and unfortunately she was pushed under the elephant's feet, which frightened her very much. This occurring during a time of pregnancy was the cause of my deformity. The measurement around my head is 36 inches. There is a large substance of flesh at the back as large as a breakfast cup. The other part, in a manner of speaking, is like hills and valleys, all lumped together, while the face is such a sight that no one could describe it. The right hand is almost the size and shape of an elephant's foreleg, measuring 12 inches round the wrist and 5 inches round one of the fingers. The other hand and arm is no longer than that of a girl 10 years of age, although it is well proportioned. My feet and legs are covered with thick, lumpy skin. Also, my body, like that of an elephant, and almost the same color. In fact, no one would believe until they saw it that such a thing could exist. It was not perceived much at birth, but began to develop itself when at the age of 5 years. I went to school, like other children, until I was about 11 or 12 years of age, when the greatest misfortune of my life occurred, namely the death of my mother. Peace to her. She was a good mother to me. After she died, my father broke up his home and went to lodgings. Unfortunately for me, he married his landlady. Henceforth, I never had one moment's comfort. She having her own children, and I not being so handsome as they, together with my deformity, she was the means of making my life a perfect misery. Lame and deformed as I was, I ran, or rather walked away from home 2 or 3 times, but suppose father had some spark of parental feeling left, so he induced me to return home again. The best friend I had in those days was my father's brother, Mr. Merrick, hairdresser, Churchgate, Leicester. When about 13 years old, nothing would satisfy my stepmother until she got me out to work. I obtained employment at Messrs. Freeman cigar manufacturers and worked there about 2 years, but my right hand got too heavy for making cigars, so I had to leave them. I was sent about the town to see if I could procure work, but being lame and deformed, no one would employ me. When I went home from my meals, my stepmother used to say I had not been to seek for work. I was taunted and sneered at so that I would not go home from my meals, and I used to stay in the streets with a hungry belly rather than return for anything to eat. What few half meals I did have, I was taunted with the remark, "That's more than you have earned." Being unable to get employment, my father got me a peddler's license to hawk the town. But being deformed, people would not come to the door to buy my wares. In consequence of my ill luck, my life was again made a misery to me, so that I again ran away and went hawking on my own account. But my deformity had grown to such an extent so that I could not move about the town without having a crowd of people gather around me. I then went into the infirmary at Leicester, where I remained for 2 or 3 years, when I had to undergo an operation on my face, having 3 or 4 ounces of flesh cut away. So I thought I'll get my living by being exhibited about the country. Knowing Mr. Sam Torr, Gladstone Vaults, Wharf Street, Leicester, went in for novelties, I wrote to him. He came to see me and soon arranged matters, recommending me to Mr. Ellis, Beehive Inn, Nottingham, from whom I received the greatest kindness and attention. In making my first appearance before the public, who have treated me well, in fact, I may say I am as comfortable now as I was uncomfortable before. I must now bid my kind readers adieu. So, what do you think about this pamphlet? Do you think that Mr. Joseph Merrick wrote it himself? Do you think that he really believed all the things that were in it? And what do you think about Joseph Merrick? How would you have treated him if you met him in his lifetime? I mean, think about it. Imagine you didn't know anything about him, right? I mean, nowadays it's easy, right? Because you know the books, and you've seen the films, and you know the videos, and you listen to podcasts like this. But imagine you didn't know anything about him. Would you have given him food and shelter? Would you have given him a kind word? Would you have offered him your friendship? Would you have been compassionate and understanding to Mr. Merrick, who was known for his gentle and kind nature? I'd really love to know what you think, so please share your thoughts in the comments below. And please check out my other podcasts and videos about Joseph Merrick, who history refers to as the Elephant Man. And so, this concludes this episode of the Strange History Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, kindly like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If you want to support my research and hear more shows like this, please click on the link below so you can see how you can make a donation directly to me, and also join me on other platforms where I post exclusive content. And of course, I will appreciate it if you could leave a super thanks below. Kindly be kind to all non-human animals, and please don't eat them. They don't like it. Take my word for it. And please do yourself a favor and go to a local shelter and adopt a cat or a dog. You and they will be very glad that you did. Until next time, I wish you safe travels on all your journeys.